It's time for a classic build, a very classic build. Welcome to another episode of Paralives, today with a French rowhouse style build. Yeah, I've been doing two rather crazy style builds to test out the system with the burrow and a kind of tree house build. Today we're doing something more normal, more classical, more down to normal kind of lifelike architecture, and we're doing a French rowhouse build. I'm a huge fan of like the Parisian style rowhouse buildings, you know, Victorian style. This is definitely something I really like. I really like the streets, I really like the atmosphere of it, how it is in Paris, but like, you know, just in general in these French areas. Really big fan of it, and I wanted to see how this game copes with especially this task, because it's a bit more of a straightforward task, and the game offers a lot more tools that are, yeah, just in general a bit more catered to exactly this challenge. And it also happened to be that way, that it felt a little bit more simple to achieve this, and because of that I tried to be a lot more detailed in that as well, to make sure that the building really translate the look. Again, little hint, we do not do the inside quite yet. I will do a dedicated inside build soon. The main reason why I don't is I have still terrible issues with my save file corruption. Needless to say that the last two builds I did are basically useless. The moment I went back into the file, every single item was floating around somewhere else. And I don't know what exactly my issue is. It's definitely not only for advanced moved pieces, it is also for normally moved and scaled pieces. I seem to have more issues than other people seem to have. Not sure if it is down to my way of placing things or whatnot. But it's rather frustrating to go back in game and have to redo the entire interior. So at this point, I don't want to spend hours and hours doing interiors when it just doesn't work. So the next approach I'm going to do is I'm going to build an inside where I don't use any advanced move. Hopefully that is going to help me with some saving and just doing that in the build mode, not in the career mode. Just trying to do the best possible to, you know, deliver some really good builds that I can also revisit. But other than that, it's early access quirks, and we all know that we have to deal with this. This time around, this house over here is accessible. It is working, so that is the good news, and I would have been able to plop some things in. I did do a bit of fixes here and there, but in all honesty, I also made sure to focus mainly on the front of the house. I will go back to this build once some of the issues are sorted out, maybe with the next patch already, and then I will finish up this house and make sure to create a blueprint out of that one, because I genuinely think that the front of the house turned out super well. I'm very happy how that actually turned out to be looking. And again, even the dormers on top are functional. This was something I wanted to do, and to ensure that this actually works. You can see me doing this layout here on the third level in a bit of a complicated way, but there's a reason behind why I did this. I wanted to ensure that everything is accessible. So what you don't see is eventually I did stop the recording and went back in and see if areas are accessible. You can easily like click somewhere, and then if you can see people go there, still that works. So I had to reiterate some of the stairs here and there and just made sure that everything just kind of works properly, you know, placing doors and stuff in between. But yeah, now let's talk about the strong parts of this game, because I was, you know, that was not really meant to be a huge criticism. It's just like the, you know, the quirks of early access as it goes. But here is really where the game starts to shine, like especially these wall extras. They come in super handy, specifically for these kind of Victorian type of builds. I was really impressed by how easy it was to achieve the look I wanted to go for. It's not exactly what I would have loved to do. I would really love to get these items as individual items, like these shingles and whatnot, like these, yeah, these just like, what is that, stucco kind of pieces that would be attached to these levels. Really would love to see them being individual pieces too. You will see me manipulate some of the pillars later on to achieve more detail here and there, but as soon, you know, as I said, as soon as I use them and rotate them 90 degrees, they are going to become a little bit of an issue for the build itself. So once you go back into the build, as I said, it's most likely going to be broken, and I do not dare even to go into that build. Eventually I will try to give you a little real-time overview if the save file is okay enough. I haven't tested afterwards, to be completely honest with you, but I'm fearing the worst, so yeah. Also, what you can see, I tried to make this house not too tall, but unfortunately some of these wonderful door types over here that are essentially that, they are for like large old school buildings with like old town buildings buildings that have relatively high ceilings. I merged that still in, and it just kind of worked nicely. And then I found this little trick over here to use these archways, put them in a wall that you don't need, and then advanced move them into position to achieve that really cool kind of additional detail around the door. Yet again, I'm fearing that this thing is not going to be in place once we go back into the save file, but I tried my best to just mimic as best as I could, and using also some of these, as I said, smaller trims and smaller pillars over here to just achieve that additional Victorian kind of look. I am really, as I said, really happy with how that turned out. This style seems also to be really that where the art style of this game starts to shine. It absolutely is exactly the looks I wanted to go for. It absolutely shows how cool some of the wall patterns are, how good the full flexi-color option is. Like, there's a lot of good things to talk about when it comes to the Paralives looks. I wasn't really sold on it when I saw it the first time. I was like, okay, it's a weird mixture of sim style and like art book style. It just goes almost into that kind of sketchbook style, not art book, but sketchbook. But the more I play it and the more I play around with it, I really am sold on it. It is timeless enough to be modern, and it is different enough to be too crazy comparable to, you know, The Sims, for example, that you do not always live in the comparison. It has its own unique touch, enough of that to be that good. So really am pleased with the way they went. But you can see here, I was trying various things to get these iron fences in front of the windows, but like one of the bigger issues I had over here is that that these were all relatively big, but that goes to show that I went in general like a little small with the build overall. I think I could have made this all a bit taller, which to be honest is perfectly easy to do. You can just easily like increase some of the sizes here. But yeah, I wanted to go with like one of these older buildings that they are smaller. That is just the case how it is. Like in the times where these things have been built, people in general used to be smaller. And I mean, if you don't go into some really rich guys and, you know, rich kids areas, which then had the money to build bigger, they were always like, you know, kind of connected to what is looking good in terms of the maximum size used for the space available, which means they kind of try to max out this by building a little bit smaller and not so high ceilings to fit 2 or even 3 levels into a build. This is something I wanted to, you know, accompany for, but again, it's mostly about the looks, and I guess for it being really functional, I would have needed to go a bit taller anyways. But also another reason why I did this is to make sure that I can fit the staircases in, because as they need to go relative to the height of the ceiling, the stairs obviously always become super long, as we don't have a chance to make them go rounded or around an edge or circular even. I needed to make sure that I do work with less tall ceilings in order to make sure that I can access all these various levels. That's the main reason why I decided to, you know, change the height of these houses a little bit to my favor here. But yeah, as I said, I think it still did turn out very nicely looking. Again, for me personally, this is still all testing ground. I'm trying to flex my creative muscles as much as possible and trying to achieve as much as possible in the time given to understand better what this game is really capable of and where I can potentially give some feedback on. I'm still trying to make like a little feedback video of like 10 wishes I have for the game. A couple of those I can obviously mention already. This is pretty obvious that we need some better multi-select option, so you can manipulate pieces at the same time. Specifically here with the roof, you can see would have been so easy to have these 4 individual pieces and just like edit and move them at once. That would be so freaking simple. But yeah, at some point I was also like, you know, a copy from Origin, like the Planet games have. Also Yonti from Geekism said that immediately. That would be very, very, very helpful to have. Like, you know, if you have like a trim that is exactly in the position and height you need, and if you click on copy, that at the moment the copied piece will be then connected to your cursor and you can reposition that with your cursor. But what you actually want to have is that the piece is being duplicated from the original location of that trim, and that you keep on moving that to another position in exactly that height, for example, so that you would just need to manipulate one axis at a time. I guess this would be a very helpful fix to make building a lot more seamless and frictionless in here, because, you know, whenever you copy a piece, you try to put it in the exact same position, which mostly doesn't end up well, and you do have a couple of issues here and there. But yeah, overall, I'm very pleased with how that building turned out to be looking, and I guess at this point we are going to have a look at the finished result, either in game or in some screenshots. I don't know yet because, well, as I said, I'm not sure how the save file is going to look like when I load back into it. So depending on that, I'll be back with you either with real-time footage or talking about some screenshots. So let's have a little cut. It's actually not too bad, so we are actually in game. So here you can see this is the finished house. You can see there is the staircase missing, unfortunately, so it's kind of hard for them to get in here. And also some of these window metal beams, they are all over the place. You can see this one over here is already weirdly rotated. So not sure why exactly that happened, but it's not too bad. You know, a couple of trims are not in the position where they're used to being, and some of the other stuff is not in. But it's not, again, as I said, it's not too shabby. It's all good so far, so good. Some of the stuff also did stick in place, like that one over here. The main thing is, if I go to have my wonderful character over here, let's see if she can come over. There she is. We can also just quickly see if we can make her get in, but by that, I guess I would need to have a staircase in front of it, which potentially could just work. No, wait, hold on. I need to just build that room again. Hopefully it's not going to, I'm not going to destroy too much. Let's go all the way down to the lowest floor, so we can actually do this and do that, and then we should be able to just about... Never mind, guys, I just quickly fixed it myself. You don't need to sit through me clicking a couple of buttons here. So, just to showcase, it does work now. So I'm just going to quickly go on the top floor, click somewhere, say, oh, wait, okay. So, actually, I did something wrong here with the highest floor. Let's go to the second floor so I can see at least that one. So that one works. She goes in. I think I have to replace this stair because I have moved a couple of things. Either the front or the back is not enough space. But that's an easy fix, rather easy. So yeah, they can see the para is coming up, or shall I say our wonderful Hella. She's coming up here and she can interact basically with all the rooms. That is pretty fantastic. Yeah, so what shall I say? I am very pleased. Let me just also go here. Can I make her dance here, exercise, do push-ups? Yeah, you can do some push-ups here in front. Oh, this is push-ups. I didn't know that is push-ups. Okay, never mind then. Is there, what was that? Oh, there was a beam in the way. So yeah, this is the house. This is she's doing some push-ups just in front of the window there. If we go into the photo mode, you can see how nicely that turned out to be looking. As I said, I will fix a couple of things here and there because, you know, zooming out, this backside isn't perfectly fine yet. There's a couple of things I have to fix with the roof there, but you know, as of now, I'm fairly surprised. A, how well it does fit into that style over here, but also B, how nice that worked in general. You know, that little kindergarten here next to the side. Very nice, very nice. I like that. Even though I'm not too sure if this kindergarten is placed too securely here on that cliff. But you know, well, who am I to judge, you know? Who am I to judge? God, I love this game. Like the coziness of this game, the clutter, the feeling, everything. It's just so damn good. Really not sure what I'm going to do next time. I have a couple of things on my list. I want to do like a brutalist kind of Bauhaus style. I'm still going to try to do something sci-fi related, like just to see what these themes can do. You know, that is definitely on my list as well. But I do hope that you found this a little bit interesting and also just a little bit, you know, inspiring to what you can do with the game. Also, you could obviously go in and change a couple of these things and make this build your own, technically, in terms of how you can deal with the pieces. I could have gone in and make things even more detailed. You know, I was thinking about using this piece over here to use that a bit more often to create some more. You can see you could technically use that piece and then create a couple more of these wonderful ceiling pieces. We could have done this to just have a bit of a nice groundwork here. You know, you can actually, these pillars scaled to a certain degree are very versatile in terms of how you can use them, and also the staircase. Obviously, I mean, if I do get in and use the advanced tool, it's not usable anymore. That's the problem. But I would have loved to just use that thing this way, you know, but the problem is obviously that our character should not be able to go outside now, go here. Oh, actually, does it do it? I'm wondering, it doesn't say no. So maybe the staircase is usable now. Let's have a little look. I'm actually confused, but let's see. There you go. Oh, actually, it is usable, but can we go back in? Just open the door, okay, and then go there. Okay, that works. Oh, I thought that the staircase will all be destroyed if you do that. Okay, I could have done this earlier. Oh, that's pretty interesting. That's pretty good. I'm not aware that this worked, but that's a good little bit of knowledge that it does work now. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you would love to see me do next. I have a couple of things on my list, as I said, but I'm also willing to change route in order to do what you guys would find interesting, I should say. So can't wait to talk to you through some more builds. I'm really looking forward to those. It was a lot of fun doing this one. So until then, have a good one. And also, if you find Paralives interesting, you want to see more, make sure to sub to the channel if you haven't already. Pretty much appreciate all of your feedback, all of your support. So can't wait to talk to you in the next one. Goodbye.